With over 50 films to her credit, Julie Adams was every bit one of the most sensational actresses to have ever graced Hollywood.
Thank you. I like the movie too. I really enjoy it.
However, most of her fans only know about her in bits and pieces.
That's why I really wasn't up for it at the beginning, because I felt I didn't even go pursue it because I felt, I would probably be too young.
But her entire career is as spooky as the horror roles she embodied and would send shivers down your spine. The start of a historical career. Born Betty Mae Adams on October 17, 1926 in Waterloo, Iowa, Julie Adams embarked on a journey fueled by early ambitions and a relentless drive to succeed in Hollywood. Raised in Arkansas, her passion for acting blossomed during her teenage years, setting her on a path towards the entertainment industry. At just 19, Adams won a beauty contest that propelled her to California, where she chased her dreams of stardom. In Hollywood, Adams faced the initial challenges with unwavering determination, taking on a variety of small roles to gain experience and exposure in the competitive film industry. She made her mark primarily in westerns and B-movies, showcasing her talent in films like Red, Hot and Blue, 1949, and The Dalton Gang, 1949. Despite the modest nature of these early roles, Adams's charm and skill did not go unnoticed, earning her recognition from producers and directors who saw promise in her abilities. However, it was a pivotal shift to the horror and sci-fi genres that would define Julie Adams' career trajectory. Her breakthrough came with the iconic 1954 film Creature from the Black Lagoon. She played Kay Lawrence, a scientist who captures the creature's fascination. Adams's performance in this role not only catapulted her to fame, but also solidified her as a prominent figure in the realm of horror cinema. Her portrayal brought a unique blend of strength, vulnerability, and charisma to the screen, captivating audiences and critics alike. After her success in Creature from the Black Lagoon, Adams became a leading lady in horror and sci-fi. She appeared in a series of films and TV shows. These roles further showed her skill and depth as an actress. She could convey complex emotions well. These were from fear to resilience. They resonated deeply with audiences. They earned her a devoted following among horror and sci-fi fans. Throughout her career, Julie Adams's journey was characterized by her ability to evolve with the industry while maintaining her distinctive presence on screen. Her contributions to the horror genre and beyond left an indelible mark, underscoring her talent, determination, and enduring legacy in Hollywood. Her breakthrough role. Creature from the Black Lagoon, released in 1954, is one of those classic horror movies that everyone remembers. It's set in the Amazon and follows scientists who find a scary, ancient creature living in a lagoon. The creature, kind of scary but also a bit sympathetic, gets fascinated with Julie Adams's character, Kay Lawrence. This sets up a thrilling story full of suspense. What made Creature from the Black Lagoon so special was not just its cool 3D effects and spooky atmosphere, but also its underwater scenes. These were super innovative at the time and made you feel like you were right there with the characters. Directed by Jack Arnold, the movie mixed horror, adventure, and a bit of romance, making it a unique and unforgettable experience. Julie Adams really shined in this movie as Kay Lawrence. She played a scientist who wasn't just a typical damsel in distress. Kay was smart, strong, and brave, which made her character so cool. Adams' performance made you feel her courage and also her vulnerability, which made the story even more gripping. The chemistry between Adams's character and the creature was a big part of what made the movie work. The creature's fascination with Kay added a lot of tension and made the scary parts even scarier. Adams did an awesome job showing a mix of emotions, from being scared to being determined and even compassionate, which made her character feel real and unforgettable. Behind the scenes, making Creature from the Black Lagoon was no walk in the park. The underwater scenes were especially tough to film, needing new tricks and a special suit for the creature. Riku Browning played the creature underwater, while Ben Chapman played it on land. Adams had to learn to swim gracefully and hold her breath for a long time. Despite all the challenges, Adams took her role seriously and made some of the scariest and coolest scenes in horror movie history. One of the coolest things about the movie was the creature's suit itself. It was made of latex and foam rubber, which was uncomfortable and hard to move in for Browning and Chapman. But the suit's design was ahead of its time, letting the creature move realistically underwater and adding to the movie's spooky vibe. Adams often talked about how tough it was to film underwater, with limited visibility and communication. But these challenges made the movie feel more real and suspenseful. Creature from the Black Lagoon became a classic because of its cool story, awesome effects, and Julie Adams' unforgettable performance. It's a movie that still gives you chills today, and shows why Julie Adams was such a great actress in Hollywood's golden age. Her mermaid swimming double. Not a real mermaid, of course, but Ginger Stanley, who did the underwater stunts in Creature from the Black Lagoon, had a unique career. She worked as a mermaid at the famous Weeki Wachee Springs amusement park in Florida. Weeki Wachee is known for its live mermaid shows, where women dressed as mermaids perform underwater tricks and synchronized swimming. Ginger Stanley's time at Weeki Wachee was more than just a job. It showed her amazing swimming and breath-holding skills. Performing as a mermaid meant she had to be very good at moving underwater, which made her perfect for the stunts in Creature from the Black Lagoon. Her experience at Weeki Wachee meant she could spend a long time underwater, which was needed for her role in the film. In Creature from the Black Lagoon, Ginger did all the dangerous underwater scenes. She swam smoothly through the underwater world of the movie, doubling for Julie Adams' character, Kay Lawrence. Her work made the underwater scenes look real and exciting. Even though she played a big part in the film's success, she did not get credited for her work. This was common for stunt performers back then, even though they were important to the movie. Ginger Stanley was also called back for the sequel, Revenge of the Creature, in 1955. She did more underwater stunts for this film too, but just like the first movie, she did not get on-screen credit. This shows how stunt performers, especially in those days, often did not get the recognition they deserved. Her work at Weeki Wachee and on these films shows how skilled and dedicated she was as a stunt double. Weeki Wachee Springs, with its mermaid shows, was a great place for someone like Stanley to train. Her story is a big part of the history of both the amusement park and the classic horror film. Through Ginger Stanley's work, we see the important role of behind-the-scenes heroes who make movies possible. Her story also highlights how many stunt performers, especially women, contributed a lot to films but were often overlooked. While Julie Adams got a lot of praise for her role, it's important to also remember and celebrate Ginger Stanley, the real-life mermaid who helped make the creature come alive. The queen of horror and chills. Julie Adams had an amazing career in Hollywood, especially known for her roles in horror and sci-fi movies. After she became famous in Creature from the Black Lagoon, she kept showing her talent in more films that made her a beloved star in these genres. In 1955, she came back as Kay Lawrence in Revenge of the Creature. This sequel continued the story of the Gill Man, now captured and put in a Florida oceanarium. Even though Adams' role was shorter this time, it helped connect the story from the first movie and kept things going. Revenge of the Creature didn't become as famous as the first one, but it showed Adams was a key part of these creature feature movies. Her acting was still top-notch, showing how well she could play a character going through strange situations. That same year, Adams was in The Private War of Major Benson, a movie mixing comedy and drama. She played Dr. Kay Lambert, a school nurse who falls for Major Benson, played by Charlton Heston. This role let Adams explore different sides of her acting, showing she could be caring, yet strong-willed. Her performance added a lot of feeling to the movie, making it even more enjoyable. As her career went on, Adams took on all sorts of roles that showed her talent. One standout was The Killer Inside Me in 1976, based on a dark novel. Here, Adams played Amy Stanton, the love interest of the main character, Lou Ford, a deputy sheriff with a dark side. The movie dug deep into psychological horror, and Adams's role brought a human touch to the story. Her acting showed both vulnerability and strength, bringing real emotion to the screen. Throughout her career, Adams proved she could handle any spooky role, moving smoothly between horror, sci-fi, and psychological drama. Her ability to make every character feel real and bring out their emotions made her a favorite with audiences. Whether she was facing a prehistoric creature, dealing with romance, or exploring the darkest parts of the mind, Adams always delivered performances that stuck with you. Her dedication and skill made her stand out in Hollywood, leaving a lasting mark on genre movies that fans still love today. Transition to television horror. Throughout the 1950s, 60s, and beyond, Julie Adams appeared in many TV shows that let her explore spooky and supernatural themes, showing off her talent as a versatile actress. One standout was her role in Alfred Hitchcock Presents, a show known for its suspenseful stories. In the 1960 episode The Long Shot, Adams played Anne Gilrain, a woman caught in a web of lies and murder. Her performance was full of tension, fitting perfectly with the show's eerie vibe. Being part of Alfred Hitchcock's series gave Adams a chance to dive into psychological horror, proving she could handle complex, suspenseful tales. Her role in this episode not only showed her skill at creating fear and suspense, but also solidified her as a major player in TV horror. Another big moment was her appearance in The Twilight Zone, a series famous for mind-bending stories. In the 1962 episode, The Trade-Ins, Adams played Mrs. Fowler, part of an elderly couple looking to swap their old bodies for younger ones. The episode dealt with big themes like aging, identity, and the fear of the unknown, letting Adams explore a different kind of horror, one that hits deep. Her acting added heart to the story, making the weird stuff feel real and touching. Adams handled The Twilight Zone's mix of sci-fi and horror perfectly, leaving her mark on the genre. Moving into the 1980s, Adams showed up multiple times on Murder, She Wrote, a mystery series that often added hints of horror and suspense. One standout episode was The Days Dwindle Down, where Adams played Lila Benson. While Murder, She Wrote was about solving crimes, it often went into dark, scary places, and Adams's episodes were no different. Her ability to bring mystery and tension made the show even better for fans of both mystery and horror. Julie Adams proved she could tackle different kinds of horror and suspense on TV, becoming a beloved part of television history. Her roles in these shows were big for her career and for the horror genre overall. Moving from movies to TV let her reach more people and show off her skills in new and exciting ways. Her work on Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Twilight Zone, and Murder, She Wrote showed she could handle all kinds of stories and ways of telling them, proving how good an actress she really was. Plus, Adams' TV roles helped change how horror worked on screen. Back then, TV was still figuring out what it could show, and her acting pushed those limits. She made horror about more than just scares. It became about deep fears and what makes us human. Julie Adams was a key part of showing that horror could be serious and make you think, not just jump. Spooky occurrences on set. During the filming of a lesser-known project, Julie Adams and her co-stars found themselves lodged in a remote cabin, chosen for its solitude and rustic charm, which perfectly suited the film's atmosphere. Nestled deep within a dense forest, far removed from city life, the cabin offered a tranquil and picturesque backdrop by day. However, as night descended, the setting took on a more unsettling and eerie aura. One evening, after a long day of shooting, Adams and her colleagues gathered in the cabin to unwind and go over the day's work. Surrounding them, the forest was enveloped in pitch darkness, punctuated only by the occasional whisper of leaves and distant calls of nocturnal creatures. The sense of isolation was tangible, heightening the inherent unease that often accompanies remote locales. As the group settled in for the night, strange noises began to intrude upon the silence. At first, faint and easily dismissed as wildlife or settling wood, the sounds gradually intensified. Clear and deliberate footsteps echoed around the property, seeming to encircle the cabin. Initially, the group tried to rationalize the noises. Perhaps it was an inquisitive animal or a playful crew member. However, as the footsteps persisted and appeared purposeful, it became evident that something more unusual was afoot. Despite mounting apprehension, Adams and a few brave souls decided to investigate. Armed with flashlights, they ventured into the chilly night. The beams of their lights pierced the darkness, illuminating dense undergrowth and casting long, eerie shadows. They meticulously combed the cabin's perimeter, hearts racing with a blend of fear and curiosity. Despite their thorough search, no evidence of a cause could be found, no footprints, no disturbed foliage, and no creatures in sight. The forest remained silent and motionless, as if holding its breath in anticipation. Bewildered and unnerved, the group returned to the cabin. Inside, the footsteps resumed, now closer to the cabin walls, as if someone, or something, was pacing just beyond the windows. The group huddled together, minds racing with thoughts of ghosts, intruders, or otherworldly beings. They double-checked locks on doors and windows, seeking reassurance, yet sleep eluded them that uneasy night. Her personal life. You know Julie Adams from those classic movies, right? Well, her life off-screen was just as interesting. She first married Leonard B. Stern in 1951. He was a big deal in TV, working on shows like The Honeymooners. Their marriage only lasted a couple of years, but it was a big learning experience for Julie. She got to see firsthand how TV shows were put together, which helped her own acting career. Then in 1954, Julie married Ray Danton, who was a well-known actor and director in Hollywood. You might have seen him in movies like The Rise and Fall of Legs Diamond. Ray also directed a bunch of TV shows. Their marriage lasted almost 30 years, and they were a real team in showbiz. They had 2 sons, Stephen and Mitchell, who both ended up working in movies just like their parents. Stephen Danton worked behind the scenes as an assistant director, helping out on lots of films and TV projects. Mitchell Danton became a film editor, which meant he had to be super detailed and understand how to tell a good story through editing. Julie and Ray's life together wasn't all smooth sailing, though. They had to juggle their careers with raising a family, which can be tough in Hollywood, but they made sure their sons had all the support they needed to follow their dreams in the film industry. The whole family was really involved in making movies, whether it was acting, directing, editing, or helping out behind the scenes. After being together for a long time, Julie and Ray decided to go their separate ways in 1981. It was a big change for Julie personally, but she kept focused on her career and on supporting Stephen and Mitchell as they made their own paths in Hollywood. Even after they split up, Julie and Ray stayed connected through their shared history and their roles as parents. Julie's experiences as a wife and mom gave her a lot of depth that she brought to her roles on screen. She could play complex characters with real emotions because she'd lived through so much herself. Her strength and resilience in her personal life showed up in the strong characters she often played in movies. 60 years of service to Hollywood. Julie Adams had a long and interesting career in television. She made her debut way back in 1949 on a show called Your Showtime. This was an anthology series, which means each episode was a different story. The show adapted famous works of literature for TV. This early role was just the beginning of her long journey in the entertainment industry. Fast forward 6 decades to 2007, and Betty Adams was still acting. She appeared in an episode of CSI NY called Boo. This was a cool role for her, especially near the end of her career. What made it special was how the show used photos of her from decades earlier in the episode. It was like bringing her past and present together on screen. In CSI NY, the story needed some mystery elements, and using old photos of Betty added an extra layer of intrigue. It was a clever way to show how her career had spanned so many years. From her start in the early days of TV to her role in a modern crime drama, Betty Adams had a career that touched many generations of viewers. Her appearance on CSI NY wasn't just a role, it was a tribute to her long and varied career. Seeing her in this role was a reminder of how much she had contributed to television over the years. It was a neat way for her to wrap up her acting journey, showing that she was still connected to her past while being relevant in the present. Her awards and accolades. Julie Adams had an amazing career in both movies and TV, and she earned some really cool awards that showed off how talented she was. In 1999, she won the Golden Boot Award for her outstanding work in Western films. This award is a big deal in Hollywood, especially for actors who've made a big impact in Western movies. Julie starred in classics like Bend of the River and The Lawless Breed, which made people see her as a versatile actress who could play tough, interesting characters effortlessly. Then, in 2000, Julie got honored in her home state of Arkansas by being inducted into the Arkansas Entertainers Hall of Fame. She grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, so this was a special recognition that made her state proud. It was a way to celebrate her success in entertainment and how she inspired people back home. Julie's achievements in movies were celebrated again at Cinecon in 2011. She received the Film Career Achievement Award there, which is a big convention that loves classic movies and Hollywood stars. This award was all about recognizing her entire career and how she made a lasting impression on audiences and filmmakers. It showed how dedicated she was to bringing unforgettable characters to life on screen. And in 2012, she won the Rondo Award for the Monster Kid Hall of Fame. These awards are all about honoring legends of classic horror, and Julie's role as Kay Lawrence in Creature from the Black Lagoon made her a true icon in the horror world. The Rondo Award was a nod to her influence on the genre and how she inspired fans and creators with her amazing performance. Even as the decades passed, the shadowy allure of Julie Adams' work in the horror genre continued to enchant and frighten new generations of fans. Her legacy as an icon of classic horror remains unchallenged, a spectral reminder of the golden era of monster movies. Julie Adams' career, marked by her memorable roles and enduring impact on the horror genre, remains a testament to her talent and charm. Her performances continue to resonate with audiences, ensuring that her legacy as a queen of classic horror endures. From the eerie depths of the Amazon to the supernatural twists of television, Julie Adams' spooky career is a celebrated chapter in the history of horror cinema.